1.8 miles of twisting racetrack, 35 TVR Tuscans, a recipe for instant entertainment. Round 6 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge, ready to go for the first of 2 races at Combe. Ian Flux from the outside of row 2 carries our onboard camera as they rush away from the start through the right-hander at Folly and then up over the crest at Avon Rise, where they go right and then left here. The car gets light over the rise and then braking down into the right-hander at Quarry. There is the race leader. Mike Jordan just gives Fluxy a little rub and the number 5 machine spins out. Now he's going to have to rejoin Stone last. Well, just about. Only 2 cars behind him when he manages to find a gap in traffic. He will be disappointed with that. Well, from the front row, Jordan leads. Mike Kane in 2nd place, started on pole position. Troy Dunlop was 3rd. He started 3rd on the grid. There he is in that claret-coloured car. Greg Catton, the white machine behind him with the blue nose. Somebody trailing smoke there. Somebody else with a ding up the back, and Steve Sutcliffe with a loose bonnet. Oh, there's been a little bit of piling up the rear. On board with Michael Kane, 2nd place. There's Mike Jordan ahead. Now the high-speed corners of Combe have been slowed down slightly over the last couple of years by a couple of chicanes, but still, this one, Camp Corner, the last turn on the lap, very demanding indeed. Number 10, Steve Hyde, with a loose rear body you saw there after a shunt up the bum. This is Ian Flux, chasing Howard Brearley. Into Camp Corner they go. Very tricky corner, very fast, not much runoff area. Out of the S's they come, into Old Paddock. Leaders, still plenty of battling going on in the top half dozen. The top 2 not getting away either. Troy Dunlop right with them, look at that. There he is in 3rd place, the claret-coloured machine. Greg Catton's lost 2 places. He's down in 6th now as he goes through ahead of Steve Hyde. So it's Mike Jordan leading from Michael Kane. Troy Dunlop in 3rd place, and somebody else goes off, losing it as the exit to Bobby's. That's one of the new chicanes as well. Ian Flux picks up a spot. That was Brian Colwell he passed, and Colwell was qualified nearly halfway up the grid, so Flux is making great progress. Jordan, Kane and Dunlop getting away. 4th place, Richard Finney in 36, Ashley Ward right with him in car number 20 in 5th place. Somebody getting the chicane wrong there, rejoining, having lost a few places. These are all the tail enders. Ian Flux has already been through all that lot. In comes Steve Hyde, car number 10, with that damaged rear end. Steve Sutcliffe still hanging around, right behind Richard Finney now. Places changing all over the place. And they're still chasing the lead trio. Mike Jordan leads, Michael Kane in 2nd place. Troy Dunlop now being left behind in 3rd. Michael Kane came from Caterham Racing, and Mike Jordan still races Porsches in the British GT Championship and raced as the champion in the Porsche Series. Well, a penalty there for a jump start being given to car number 33, James Stevenson, and still the leaders hard at it. Oh, and a spin by Michael Kane. Well, Troy Dunlop has to pick his way past, and that held Dunlop right up, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to find him under threat for his position soon. Michael Kane gets going again. That's a tight chicane entry at the S's, and he just overcooked it. Richard Finney, Greg Catton, there is 33. That's Stevenson who received that penalty. Replay on board with Michael Kane. Listen to the throttle. Well, he didn't even get on the throttle. He hit the apex too fast and felt it going. And the only thing there was to hit the brakes and try and rescue it. And away he goes. And he was really pushing Mike Jordan very hard indeed. There's the 47 that we saw earlier being passed by Ian Flux. That's Howard Brearley in another battle on the brakes. And just too late going in there. There's Brian Colwell. Spins round. Let's hope he keeps it off the track. So the race leader Mike Jordan then running away now from Troy Dunlop in 2nd place. And who's that in 3rd? That's Matt Doman, started on the inside of row 8, so he qualified 15th. He's running 3rd. Michael Kane back up to 4th. Steve Sutcliffe goes with him in 5th place, charging up to try and catch the leaders. And Behind them comes Ian Flux, still on his recovery drive from the back of the field, down into Camp Corner again. Spinner is Ashley Ward, he rolls out of the way. Oh, Matt Doman gets swallowed up by Flux as Doman has to break somebody else spinning there. And that was Giles Cooper, and Cooper stationary in the middle of the road. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, yes, black and yellow flag, meaning assume a safety car type situation. Slow right down, the leader brings the race under control. And for Mike Jordan, that's very bad news indeed. All that hard work undone. They go green again. He's still not got the field close up behind him. 2 laps to go to the flag, and they blew the chance there to catch him. Well, they've got a back marker between Mike Jordan, the leader, and the man in second place at the moment, Troy Dunlop. We ride through the field there with Ian Flux, but Mike Jordan had it made. Dunlop's now only just got back past the back marker. There goes Kane in third, Sutcliffe in fourth. And there is our errant back marker in the middle of that. Well, as he goes a lap down, Ian Flux picks up another spot. This is from James Steventon, car number 33, contact ahead. And does that mean that he will pick up another place? Will somebody go straight over the chicane? I think that was Steve Sutcliffe. No, it wasn't. It was Richard Finney. Loses his nose, and I think that was the contact with Greg Catton that we saw from Ian Flux's car. And Richard Finney is going to carry on for the last lap and a half. Yellow flags are out. And who's gone off there? Well, that was Steve Sutcliffe's car, number 27. Yes, it was. Quite a heavy impact as he's lost it at camp. And I would assume that was probably not an isolated incident. Very unusual for cars to go off there on their own. Meanwhile, here comes Mike Jordan, still holding off Troy Dunlop. And for Jordan, the checkered flag, I don't think can come soon enough. Ian Flux going for one final place on the last lap. Yes, he is, from Greg Catton. Goes past him and picks up a place as well. So Ian Flux comes up to fourth place at the end, but Mike Jordan, a convincing winner despite that safety car situation, keeping his head at the restart, jumping away again to win from Troy Dunlop. Castlecombe in Wiltshire for the second race in round 6 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge. Mike Jordan, winner of the first part, on pole position from Troy Dunlop, the man he beats to the flag by 0.3 of a second. In third place, Michael Caine, who finished third in that race. Alongside him, Ian Flux. So they're starting the second part as they finished the first. Fluxy having charged from almost last to fourth place, which is where he actually started before spinning at Quarry, ready to go again. But he's not going as they head off around on the warm-up lap. In fact, no movement at all from Ian Flux's car. Well, that's very bad news indeed. He pulls off into the pit lane, or is pushed back into the pit lane. They get it fired up again, and Flux will have to rejoin the field at the back when they have all left. Well, there is the hole on the grid where he should be, behind the claret-coloured car of Troy Dunlop. Michael Caine takes the start in third place. Mike Jordan right ahead of him, and Caine desperately trying to stop Troy Dunlop coming in between them, but he doesn't need to, because Dunlop's got a great start from the outside of the front row. As the field leaves, so too does Ian Flux. Now another chance for a momentous recovery drive. Troy Dunlop leads. Mike Jordan, Michael Caine, Greg Catton, man there with the passenger door open. If there was a passenger in there in the first place, I'm not surprised they bailed out before the start of the race. So Dunlop leads. This could be interesting. Now I wonder if Mike Jordan, who drove away from the field in the first race, will be able to work some magic and get past him. Well, down the straight they come to Tower. And down the inside goes Jordan to take the lead. So Troy Dunlop led for less than half a lap. And that's Ian Flux. Well, there was a confusion earlier on in the chicane, but that is not the result of Ian Flux running slowly, or the cause of Ian Flux running slowly. Whatever stopped his car from working earlier on obviously was not fixed properly, and Richard Finney goes off heavily at Camp Corner, just putting a wheel onto some easy dry that was down because somebody else had left oil there earlier on in a previous race, and he found the oil with his left rear tyre. Jordan leads, Dunlop second, Caine in third, Catton in fourth place, the door still open. Rather comical looking result. And then behind him, the rest of the field following. They have been a bit broken up though. There's a big gap behind the top 10. Somebody obviously either spun or stalled here at the S's on the first lap and split the field. And they spread right out behind. Well, Mike Jordan took some while to get rid of Troy Dunlop in the first race. Michael Caine spinning out in his pursuit of the leader then, riding again with Caine. Troy Dunlop right ahead, and Mike Jordan the race leader. Down they come to the final corner, Camp corner, and Jordan's got a few car lengths, enough to keep him safe from Dunlop. Caine trying to get past Dunlop, and Greg Catton still flapping the door in 4th place. Red, white and blue machine there is 17, Richard Stanton. He's in 6th, Ashley Ward in 5th place just ahead of him. And Michael Caine looking to make a move here on Dunlop and loses it. Oh, and just gets it back. My goodness. Well, that was some save. Well, look again here at Camp as we see Richard Finney going off backwards. And there, the little white line right in the middle of the corner. That's where the oil was down, and there was some cement dust, some easy dry down to try and save it. Michael Caine recovering and just getting ahead of Greg Catton. And there is where it all went very sideways for him indeed. Over the rise at Avon Rise. Told you the car gets light there, and it was slightly sideways, and as it went over the rise, went very sideways indeed on him. Jordan leads, then the claret-coloured car there, Troy Dunlop. He's in 2nd place. 3rd place, Michael Caine. 4th place, Greg Catton still. And I wonder if Troy Dunlop's going to be able to get back on terms here. Oh! Well, nudging the tyres and spinning it back round. Den Lyon gets it all going again. He's had a couple of grassy excursions so far. Steve Sutcliffe there ahead of the 33 car of James Steventon. Oh, doing himself no favours there and doing his car quite a lot of damage as he goes off heavily backwards. Substantial roll cage inside the car, as well as the bits you can see outside of the body that nicely removed for display purposes by James. You can see just how robustly built these cars are. Bodywork may flap about alarmingly when it's loose, but most bodywork does when it's thin fiberglass like these cars. The racing frame though, very strong indeed. Well, the leader's now starting to catch the back markers with headlights ablaze. Mike Jordan makes his presence felt, if not pre-alerted there, the back marker. I'm not too sure he actually knew the leader was coming through. He does now though, Wayne Phelan, so now he will be aware that perhaps there will be others following. Troy Dunlop still 2nd, Michael Caine still 3rd. These 3 really running away from everybody else here, and they're having a great scrap. No passing manoeuvres as yet on Mike Jordan. That may only be a moment or two away. If he gets caught up in traffic, then that will really help. That's Anders Hildebrand, they've just lapped, car number 76. Looks like he's struggling there actually. He was going an awful lot slower than you might expect anybody to be going. Bill Collins, gyrating. Oh dear, Bill, come on, a bit too enthusiastic on the throttle there as he rejoins. And into the pits goes Greg Catton. Now that's surely something other than just the door being open. No, it is for the door open and flapping around. They shut it and put a bit of tape on it, and off he goes. Well, they'll be very disappointed with that, but I'm sure not half as disappointed as the driver himself, coming in out of the top 6 scrap just because his door's banging about. Mike Jordan still leading, Troy Dunlop and Michael Caine. Here we are with Anders Hildebrand. Don't forget, he's just been lapped and challenging Wayne Phelan here. Gets through at Camp. I was waiting there for the sounds of an impact. It looked like a very small gap he was threading himself through, but he did manage to thread successfully. Well, what can Mike Jordan and Troy Dunlop do here to shake off Michael Caine? And more importantly, I think, what can Dunlop and Caine do to get past Mike Jordan? Won the first part of the race, and looks as though he's going to do the same here as well. Troy Dunlop can get very close indeed, but just not quite close enough to have a lunge. Again with Anders Hildebrand. Spots of water on the camera lens. Now that may be from following somebody, or possibly a bit of moisture in the air. Oh dear, gets very sideways. There's a replay of James Steventon's incident as he lost control and went off. The car parked by the side of the road now. Riding with Michael Caine, 3rd place man. No sign of water on his camera lens, so I think we can assume that Anders Hildebrand had picked some up from a rival, perhaps spraying a bit of water out of the cooling system. Caine in 3rd place, as you saw, and there is the race leader. Mike Jordan in the white machine, and the back marker they're about to pass, pulling well offline. Very gentlemanly manoeuvre by Wayne Phelan. He's been shown the blue flags, the flag that means somebody quicker is coming up behind you. And generally speaking, when you see those rather surprisingly in the middle of a race, you're fairly sure that it's the leader coming through rather than somebody who you've been battling for ages. Well, pressure off now, Mike Jordan. He gets past Howard Brearley, no problem. Just one corner left to go. A spinner ahead of him, but he takes the checkered flag to win both parts of round 6 at Castle Combe. And the spinner recovering there without interrupting the lead Rod Barrett. So it's Jordan the winner, and as a result, the championship looks like this. Jordan closing again on leader Kane.